If this week's episode of After Schmoe is a little bit more echoey than usual, it's because I'm in the process of moving and there's like nothing in my, well, there's a lot less in my room as of right now. Jaye Williams is here with me. What's up, man?
I don't have that problem because I have equipment.
Well, what?
I have equipment that's, I've done my research for years. My podcasting experience has gotten me to this point where
it took you years to realize you need to buy foam padding for your wall?
No, I don't have that problem when I'm here. I podcasted in my parents' open room, wide open room, very high ceilings, a weird fan, and nobody had these issues. Not nobody. I didn't have these issues.
Well, you
Just
know,
add the compressor.
yeah. Well, I will add the compressor. That'll make it a little bit more echoey, actually. But no,
That's
I'm
true.
excited because I am moving to Los Angeles.
That's not true. You're moving to, I don't know. I was trying to think of a joke, but regardless,
You're not funny.
you wanted me to help you sort out your room because we're wanting to take this After Schmoe to the video level, mainly because
Oh my God! You just dropped that?
mainly because Kristian asked us to do it by watching a very old video where we talk about the weekend, not the actual weekend, but the artist the weekend, and I mean,
Now we know Kristian snoops on Sight and Sound. Either that, or he's trying to enter in the giveaway that we have running right
he was
now.
lurking.
Yeah.
He was lurking on the Sight and Sound YouTube page. But no, we do After Schmoe from your studio, and we do Sight and Sound from my studio. So, yes, I would love to help you get that in order so people can see our beautiful faces. Finally.
It's not at all what you said prior to recording. You said that you were iffy on helping me move and sort out my room, that you might just be hanging out at your house tomorrow night. So
I'm iffy helping you move because one of my least favorite things to do on planet Earth is moving.
Hey,
And
I'm not excited either, but I gotta do it. Do we have any more witty banter?
I don't know. I can believe that.
We'll get to the bottom of that at the other side of the song. Welcome to After Schmoe, your official after show for Schmoes Know. I'm Ryan Snelling, as always.
My name is Jaye Williams. The dog's back on the couch, but I don't even care because I want a cheeseburger.
And I'm so much louder than you for no reason. And I also love how I so aggressively entered the show as you were taking a vape. I didn't even realize it. I'm sorry.
Well, it is 420. While we're doing this podcast, we know Kristian likes to rib the old bong. I found out today because I've been diving deep on Don't Be a Beardo that Mark does not partake in the devil's lettuce.
He doesn't. He said it a couple times. If you knew your Schmoes Know history.
I'm working my way up. I'm still in 2012.
Actually, that is something that we can talk about today. Is your experience on one of my favorite moments in Schmoes Know lore. Actually, that might be the only thing we have to talk about today, but more on that in just a minute.
Hot take.
We've been forgetting, or at least I've been forgetting, to bring this up on this show. This is an inside joke that you have adopted that has yet to make it on air.
We talked about it on our Q&A, but apparently
Did we?
yeah, we did. A lot of
I
people
don't
missed
remember.
that apparently because numbers were a little low. Don't know what the deal is. Obviously, you guys have band together to get Kristian to come on this podcast.
That's what it is.
So,
Schmoville's great. That's why Schmoville is so great.
Wait, before we jump into that, can we talk about something that we like sort of talked about last night, and I really do want to do this eventually. So last night, I actually a few days ago, I accidentally realized that we could, or anybody could, start a live video stream from the Schmoville Facebook page.
Yeah.
Next week, maybe, or maybe another time, I want Ryan and I to get together before the live show comes on air, maybe like an hour, and do a Facebook live stream with us together, sort of like a pre-show, like warm-up or something like that.
Someone's going to take that idea. Because you just said it on air.
Well, that's fine because most of you don't have a podcast like us. I mean, you probably do have podcasts, but
there's quite a few podcasts in Schmoeville,
and that's fine. But look, we're thinking about doing this thing. We said it. It's on record now. So if anybody does it before us,
are you gonna tell them to go to heck?
I mean, I could believe it, but yeah, that could be a transition into our inside joke.
The other thing I do want to say. Well, hold on. I have something else.
Okay.
I love the idea that Kristian has just let us do our thing. Because I feel like
he used to talk to you all the time. He used to like he gave us notes on our trial episode.
It's not
I haven't
even
heard
that.
from him since.
It's not even that, dude. Like what you and I have been doing with this show, I don't feel like I could have gotten away with it a year ago. I don't even know how to explain it. We just
think I'm a nice guy.
We just do whatever. We talk about the Schmoes, and then that's it. That's the episode. And he hasn't said a word about it, which I know is actually a good thing.
Can we do 1 week where we just like, I don't know when, can we just have 1 week where we're just super controversial? Like we both agree to ultra controversial.
I don't know. I mean,
we haven't been super controversial.
Yeah. Well, I got a bad taste in my mouth with the theatrics, or with the controversy. I mean, obviously, I'm not afraid of theatrics. Just look at my failed experiment when I called Mark Ellis on the air a couple weeks ago. But
we all have missteps.
But the controversy and that kind of stuff, I don't know, man. I don't know. Plus, we just haven't really had a problem with anything on the Schmoes.
Yeah.
I mean, it'd be one thing if we were talking about Collider. There's some things I could probably call out and say that I didn't like. But as far as the Schmoes Know Show, it's kind of built the way we built After Schmoe. It's just, they just kind of do whatever. And that's part of the branding of it. And, yeah.
Well, it's kind of our podcasting.
It's such an easy listen.
It's kind of our podcasting attitude, too. I mean, I think I've mentioned it before and other things I've been involved with. But the type of content that I personally like, and I think that you personally like, is it's just, we're relaxed. You know, we don't script things. We don't plan a lot of stuff out. I mean, we'll talk about it, but we've been doing this for a while. We kind of like to hang out and talk, and we want you guys to feel like you're just hanging out with us. This isn't some kind of, we're not having hour-and-a-half meetings like Ken Knapsack.
Actually, we do talk a lot about the business side of what we do.
We do, and that's fair. But
it's pretty much our entire friendship.
But when we come on air, it's just, just taking our pants off. Just get your dicks out or whatever.
Let's get to the inside joke that you've been claiming the past few weeks. I think it's very funny. It's something that I think we both pointed it out to each other, but you're the one that
I thought you were cooling down on it, I'll be honest with you, but it still makes me laugh hard every single time.
We need to bring it up on the show, so go ahead.
So, again, I mentioned this last week, but
no, you did.
I swear to God I did. So Kristian has this thing he does when he hosts Schmoe Down, and actually I haven't noticed it as much. Sometimes he'll do it, but anytime they ask the question and they have the banter between he and Ken or he and Campy or he and Ellis, he almost always says the same catchphrase
in response to what the other person has said.
He always says, "I can believe that." And it's so funny to me that that's his go-to phrase now, that every time he does that, I laugh so much. And I've even utilized it in my own day-to-day life. Like if people text me something like Shinfo or something, I'll respond with, "I could believe that."
Okay. I think you brought this up last week on our other episode.
Officially.
Okay. So we touched on this a little bit before. We weren't necessarily complaining about the quality of the show, but it was about the quality of, like the potential quality of what After Schmoe can be. It's very dependent on what happens on the live show. And we were hoping, last week it was the Star Wars Celebration. It was the pre-tape show. It'll be better next week. We'll be back live. This might have been even worse than last week.
Oh boy. Okay.
And again, I'm not talking about the quality of the live show. I'm talking about what this means for what we're about to do. Because I told you when you walked in the door, I looked you right in the face and just said, I have no idea what we're going to talk about, but for some reason we're still putting it up on Schmoe Plus.
If I had a don't be a beardo question, I could submit to him to ask everybody in the Collider space, in the Schmoes space. It would be about the question of burnout, because we all go through it on our day-to-day jobs. I've gone through it in my 9-to-5 job. I'm sure you have as well. I've done it with podcasting. I've done it with my hobbies. I mean, sometimes the grind is so rough, you get a little burnout. I'm not saying that's what's happening at all. I'm personally not, but I would be interested in finding out more about that. I also brought up the idea that every time Cal has been on the couch, he has literally, like a vampire dog, drained the life out of the show. And this episode was very different. Very, very, very different. We had an individual at the table that I hadn't been aware of before. Ken didn't read the news. No Makuga. No Brett. I mean, it was just... it was just different. It just seemed a lot different, the approach to this show, and people coming back from Celebration and everything else.
I picked up on the fact that there was no Makuga and Brett, but I cannot believe I missed the fact that there was no news.
I didn't remember that until I was driving over here listening to Don't Be a Beardo with Mark Ellis. This entire episode of After Schmoe is going to be an infomercial for Don't Be a Beardo.
I was going to say, why don't we just talk about Don't Be a Beardo? Why did I say that weird?
A beardo.
Let's talk about Don't Be a Beardo, because I know that you listened to the Ellis, and he was jealous. That rhymed. Intentional. He was jealous that the Brett Sheridan episode surpassed his. Which, having listened to both, which episode do you think is better?
Brett's is great. The Ellis one? The Ellis one.
Your face.
The Ellis one was The Ellis one was really good, but I was concerned with some of Beardo's questions, because a lot of it were stories that I've heard numerous times, even in the limited amount of time that I've been watching the show. Like, Mark, where did you meet Kristian? And it's like, why did the Grasping at Straws pilot, and stuff like that. And we had a mutual friend that went to Florida State, and just some questions like that. So it was good. It was a really good episode, especially just some of the personal stuff I think that he got into about stand-up. But yeah, definitely the Brett episode was better.
What about the MF5? Because you would listen to that earlier today.
That was a great episode, mainly because I connect so much with her, mainly because I'm a female. Mainly because, I respect the hell out of her, just being such a very strong and powerful voice as a female in this community that I think is dominated by men. And the fact, too, that she's such a hardworking individual that has a 9-to-5 job, does all that stuff, and that's something that we can obviously relate to very, very much.
I was going to say, that makes me feel a whole lot better about what I'm doing with my life.
And her lack of a personal life, and her...
Hey, I can relate to that, too.
Inviting of that, yeah, we can definitely relate to. When you're on the grind, you got hopes and dreams to one day potentially get a DM thank you for a logo from Kristian Harloff.
Did that happen?
No, never. That's what I'm saying. Hopes and dreams that maybe one day our lives can be as successful as MF5.
Did you need to air that out? Did you need to let people in Schmoeville know that you are the one behind that logo?
You know what? I actually, no. I mean, that's fine. It says so in the credits.
Oh, does it?
In every episode.
I didn't know
that. Yeah, I still don't know who approved that. I only communicated with RB3.
What I find curious, I think it was Kristian. Kristian was like, the whole point was to make it look different than all of the other logos, and he chose white text with the gold rectangle, which is literally what our logo is.
No, it's not. Ours is a gold
circle
thing. Yeah.
Did you really? You know exactly what I'm talking about, just because I wasn't specific to the shape. Well, the fact that it's white text and gold, and he's like, oh, that's different.
Well, I had submitted a red box because I was like, well, Last Jedi, that poster had dropped, and he's, Darth Harloff, all that stuff. Red was going to be the thing, and I thought it looked really good. And their comments were that it looked too much like the Schmoedown Rundown. Well, first of all, their background is orange, and that's the closest thing it comes to it. This is in the general vicinity of the same color of
They're warm colors.
the Rundown, which I'm the boss of. Like, if you wanted to, just tell me to change the color of their thing and I'll do it. Or you could have just said, I don't really care for red. Either would have been fine.
Man, that's great.
But it's fine. I'm looking forward to the Harloff podcast coming back, but he's got so much competition with Beardo and the Knapsack Files. I mean, which Knapsack Files isn't even on the channel.
No,
apparently JT Movie Thinks is on the feed, but it's not on the YouTube channel, but it's on the podcast feed.
Yeah,
so.
It made a comeback. Yeah, it's been a while since he's done one of those. Anyway, what we like to do here, and
let's talk about the Schmoes Know Live show.
Yeah, the past couple weeks we've been doing this thing. For those of you who don't know, Jay and I like to take notes, but they kind of get lost on us as the night progresses. It's a 2-hour show. It's a long time to pay attention, let alone taking notes in the meantime. So we like to read off Jay's notes at the beginning of every show, just so that we know what we're getting into. Jay, I believe you have your notes with you today.
I do. These are the longest notes that I've ever taken. It also must be said that I did fall asleep in the middle of the episode and had to watch the rest of it when I woke up this morning. That's not a status on the entertainment factor of the episode, but just how tired I was.
What baffles me, you have more. This is the most notes that you've ever accumulated, which this is the least amount of notes that I've ever accumulated. And not only is it the least, but 3 of my 10 lines, 3 of my 10 lines are pointing out the music that Cobbster used in his breaks.
Okay.
3 of 10 are individually noting the songs that Cobbster used in his breaks. Anyway, without further ado, let's hear Jaye Williams' notes on the number 279 Schmoes Know Show.
I'm going to comment on a couple of these, but the first one, Ken's back. Cobbster's sad because we got, Cobbster doing the intro.
No, don't explain. You don't explain. You just read your notes.
Well, no, there's some I'm going to explain. Who the hell is that? The guy, that one guy who I tried searching for his YouTube channel multiple times because it was apparently
these aren't your notes.
I know, but I just have to say this. His YouTube channel was apparently easy. He said it's spelled just like it sounds. I have no idea what he was saying. Joel on the couch. Get the dog off the couch. He's going to drain your energy. RB3 with a sick outfit. Loving that attire, RB3. JT in the background is amazing. Ken and those Capri Sun. Look out, Kristian Mingle. Papa John's? Really? A California guy can't be impressed by pizza I can walk to get in Kentucky. Cal was dreaming. Also saw his penis. The Leftovers music at the break was a great touch. Probably a note from Kristian Harloff. Roka's shirt was playing tricks on my eyes. Cal is a ladies' man. He was on another level while Perry was on the couch. Eric, do you talk this much all the time? Is what Roka said. And he also said what we were all thinking. RB3 having to help Roka with his Capri Sun is the start of a new buddy comedy film. And that's it. So much in that to unpack.
Let's dive deep into all of that. Summer movie preview and Eric Striffler. Of course, Mark Ellis at the table, Ken Knapsack Perry, and Striffler was there. I didn't even realize, I saw him on the show. Didn't know who he was, but when he said what his Twitter was and the things that he did online, I realized that I've actually been following him. So I don't know what that says about me or what that says about him.
Well, you're a big star on Twitter.
I'm a big star?
Apparently.
What does that have to do with anything?
I'm just saying. You can't be asked to pay attention to all the people that you follow.
I actually enjoy a lot of his videos. He has a unique take on film review, and I actually really appreciate that. I just didn't recognize him. I'd like to play a quick game talking about Eric Striffler. I think this might be a fun game to always play with our guests on the show.
I'm game.
Let's talk about who he looks like. Can you morph any two existing people? And if they bred a child, it would be Eric Striffler?
One is a friend of ours that doesn't talk at all.
Okay.
And this guy was
the maybe a popular
this
personality.
Guy was the complete opposite of that. And so, I don't know. You're kind of putting me on the spot here.
I'm thinking
he kind of had the same hairstyle of the main kid character in Freaks and Geeks. That weird wafty hair that guy had.
You mean Mitch from Waiting?
Yes, that guy.
The guy who wrote Spider-Man Homecoming.
What, really?
Yeah. I was thinking...
Mark Webb?
No, I was thinking Beardo mixed with Andrew Garfield.
I also thought he looked like a Ace knockoff. The poor man's Ace, as I told you in our group text.
Ace knockoff. Happy birthday, Ken, by the way. 31, is that what he said?
He was feeling great this episode.
Yeah, well, he was
bringing the energy.
Huh?
He was bringing the energy.
He was. He had his Capri Sun, which is funny because you could have lost him talking about all of those summer movies, but I thought he stuck with it.
He's a professional.
Well, you know, sometimes he's been yawning a lot lately. He's been getting tired. We've been talking about it, but especially with Cal. But in this episode, I thought he did a fine job, and of course, the Burger Wars certainly seemed to help keep him moving.
Did you see the Cal meme that they were referencing, the Halloween Jamie Lee Curtis looking out the window and seeing Cal instead of...
No, I did not.
Oh my God, it's
Was
great.
it on Schmoeville?
It is great. It's one of my favorite memes that I've ever seen.
I'm sure Riley loves that.
He does.
Did Riley talk about it?
He talked about it on the show.
Oh, I must have put that, or I must have missed that in my notes here. I did see that someone created a Twitter account for Cal. Did you see that?
I didn't. I'm a big fan of that. Please follow me.
Would you follow? Are you going to follow him?
I don't know.
Cal the Schmoe Dog is what the name is.
I don't know. We'll see.
Okay. Yeah, we mentioned before Riley and Cal and Joelle Monique J. Joelle Monique. That was almost mispronunciation of the week. Do you think that when in the Collider studio, when they have to correct each other on actors or directors' names or anybody, do you think all of them in the building think of Brian Davids when they do that?
I don't know. That's a good question.
I think they do. I think Brian Davids enters everyone's mind in that studio when they have to correct each other.
In my history lesson, Mark went off on Kristian for being overbearing about correcting names of people.
Oh, so okay. Okay. I could see that.
Mainly because Mark decided that he was going to call Boba Fett Boba Fett. So.
Oh, well then I'm not taking his side because that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
That's sort of like the tea you had at the Vietnamese place.
Boba.
Yeah. No, I agree about that Cobbster praising Papa John's thing. By the way, we're moving around all over the place a little bit because
I was furious about that.
The beginning of the show was a lot of
Papa John's.
I think they barely touched on what Striffler actually does. Like, I heard them mention that he had been a part of the show before, but it didn't really feel like he was with people that he had done a show with before. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I'm wondering in what capacity. Someone's already typing in the YouTube comment section right now telling me that I'm an idiot because I don't know his history. Enlighten me. Please just link me the video because I did not know he had a relationship with the Schmoes.
How old is this guy?
I don't know. He's got to be...
Let's guess. How old do you think he is? There's no way he's over 30 years old.
I mean, but he's got to be old enough to have history with the Schmoes and sort of be...
But he's 29 years old.
I was going to say 29.
That's how old I am.
Yeah, and look what... he's accomplished compared to you.
He's got some nice hair. So do I.
So does that Chris Hartwell. Anyway, 29. So they jumped around a little bit and talked about that, and then they talked about how great Star Wars Celebration was, which is actually a great point because we were making fun of them thinking that was all they were going to spend their time on this week. We made that joke.
I thought so, yeah.
And they certainly did not. They were doing their summer movie preview, of course. But anyway, back to the pizza
Should
thing.
they have? Would you have liked to have heard more behind-the-scenes stuff about Celebration because actually, in fairness, in the rest of the Collider stuff, didn't really hear that much about it. I think on Monday we heard quite a bit. I think Campia was talking a lot about it.
About the behind the scenes?
Yeah, were you kind of wanting to hear a little bit more?
I would have dug behind the scenes stuff. I was totally fine with the fact that they didn't go over any of the Star Wars news, really. But the behind the scenes stuff I thought would have been pretty cool. Maybe talking more about the meet and greets instead of it just being about the thank yous.
I want to hear about parties. Like, what did you do when you wrapped up? Did you guys go
they used to make videos.
Roll a fat one with Kristian?
I'm sure they did. Did you notice that Kristian had to get back home to his family on Saturday night to spend Easter Sunday with his daughter?
I did. Did you call him?
No. I hope Kristian enjoys that joke if he's still listening. I just thought, what a committed family man.
I appreciate that. I can believe that.
But But at the same time, I'm ready for him to come back. I
am too. Even Luke, our buddy Luke Jaggers, I'm going to throw you under the bus, buddy. He doesn't listen to this anymore. He even mentioned that he's felt like he's drifted away a little bit because he felt like with the crew and the team back together, or not together, that his interest has sort of dropped off. Now, I don't want Kristian to get a big head just because he's not there. But
I'm more concerned about you upsetting everyone else.
Well, no, I'm just saying.
I don't want Cobbster to be hurt by this.
I'm just saying, like, it just seems like lately the kids are all going off to college. Like, where's Makuga? Where's he been?
He's planning his wedding.
And honestly, I don't mean to get negative.
He's getting ready for his daily TV talk that we're going to help co-host.
I don't mean to get negative, but Brett not being there, no Makuga, no news. I was kind of frustrated. I was
really
a little bit like, I was like, what is this?
They also broke tradition because they usually have. I shouldn't have even brought this up because now more people are going to get mad. I can't remember who it is, but I know that it happens. They had a tradition of the summer movie preview. I think it was Kristian's friend who works at Silver Pictures. I can't think of what his name was, but that was the guy who has been doing the summer movie preview for years. And this year they had to break that tradition. And I wonder if it's because Kristian wasn't there. But regardless, I was fine with the show, but it was missing what we know as Schmoes Know staples.
It was missing some of the beats.
So, but regardless, to be totally honest, I miss Kristian. I'm not going to lie. I just miss him.
Aww.
I do. I just want him to come back. And I know it's just a matter of time. I know he'll be back soon, but I wish he would just I know he's already thought about this. I know I'm not presenting a new idea, but if it was just once a month even. Of course, I want twice a month, like every other week, but that's obviously not going to happen. What? Just once a month, man. Come on.
Well,
come back.
I mean, I guess while we're on the subject, let's at least look at his body of work since he's been gone. I mean, the Schmoedown. I know this isn't the place where we talk about this. There's a whole other podcast for it, but the Schmoedowns lately have been incredible. That Free for All was amazing. That one, the Star Wars one they did at Celebration was unbelievable. Absolutely incredible.
It's great.
And I mean, the numbers alone, they're some of Collider's biggest content that they have. And I mean, you look at some of his other responsibilities. I'm sure there's a shit ton of stuff behind the scenes that we're just not even familiar with. And all the stuff, I was listening to that Don't Be a Beardo.
He's working on the next episode of Unboxed.
I was I was listening to that Don't Be a Beardo episode with Mark, and Mark talking about how this is what Kristian's good at, kind of the planning stuff behind the scenes and all of that. I mean, look at what he's doing with SK Plus, bringing all this content to you guys. Like, that's all great, but it's time for Daddy to come home.
Daddy Harloff, we miss you. Absolutely. Anyway, how did we get here? Let's go back to the Papa John's. So
ridiculous.
When they said the best pizza in Florida, I thought that they were going to name off some like mom and pop store that was about to go out of business that had a Frogger machine in the corner.
Even if they would have said some other like chain, like a secondary chain, like a Jets Pizza. I don't even know if they have Jets Pizza in Florida, but
I don't even know what that is.
Jets Pizza is great.
Okay.
Or even if they were like, I don't know. Even Donato, isn't Papa John's like one of the stadiums in Kentucky is named after Papa John's? Like, that's like saying your favorite burger or your favorite drink is Coke. What does that even mean? I guess that's not that big of a deal, but
I mean, when they said favorite pizza in Florida and then Papa John's, I thought they were joking and I laughed. I thought it was a joke that Cobbster made. And then the fact that Ellis was like, oh, yeah, Papa John's. What the hell are you guys talking about? They clearly just didn't have any of, like, I guarantee if they had chose any other pizza place, by default, it would have been the best pizza they ever had because all they had to base it off of was Papa fucking John's.
Have you ever been to like...
What the hell's the matter with
Have you ever been to like one of those convention centers or something like that where they give you the same concession stand food, like that shitty plastic tray with the nacho chips and that orange cheese and a soft pretzel?
I love that. I love that cheese.
A soft pretzel. What if he was like, I had the best pretzels ever?
And it was just concession stand food?
Yeah.
We'd be having the same conversation. What the hell's the matter with you? And if they're listening to this, they're probably like, "No, man, just what?" No, there's no arguing it. You said you lost the argument when you said that it was Papa John's because that is absurd.
And Papa John's is good pizza.
It's fine,
but you can't. Yeah.
The sauce is a little sweet.
Okay.
I don't want to get into a whole...
At least they don't get your... Look, if you want to hear us talk about foods and our Mount Rushmores of favorite foods, you listen to Sight and Sound. People liked our cereal talk.
We talked about... We're already over halfway in my notes. We talked about the music that they played. Funny for several reasons. One, Force Awakens music, which we talked a lot about the Force Awakens last week. The Leftovers, we do a podcast.
Where did that come from?
Because Cobbster's a fan.
Okay.
And I told Cobbster he has no choice but to be on our Leftovers After Show. And so I'm hoping that happens. And then the final song I thought of you immediately was 500 Days of Summer. Because the only director you can name is Mark Webb. Also, 500 Days of Summer is... I love that movie. Absolutely love it. My next note. Mark Ellis. I think they brought... How did they bring this up? I don't know if they brought up Silicon Valley. No, they brought up... Okay, they were talking about the summer movie preview, and they were talking about The Sick, or whatever that Kumail Nanjiani movie is. That's where I fell asleep. And Ellis says the words, and I'm paraphrasing, Kumail Nanjiani is funny. When? I mean, look, this is your thing. When is Kumail Nanjiani funny? He's only saying that because I guarantee that they've met each other. They've seen each other do stand-up. I guarantee it. I guarantee they've done stand-up together, and that's the only reason he's saying that. This is your thing, and you're alone on this. I don't get it. This is like your Paul Dano thing. I have no idea where this comes from. I hate Paul Dano. I have no idea where this comes from. Kumail Nanjiani is never funny. He doesn't say anything. On Silicon Valley. Yes, he does. He's the most forgettable character. His character has an entire, humorous arc. Okay, so does Winston in New Girl, but that doesn't mean that you need him. Winston's great. He's got that cat. I'm Kumail Nanjiani. It's not good. I think Why don't you read a TeePublic ad? I think I just think he's nothing. I don't know. I think he's just as bland as a glass of water. I don't see how he stands out at all. That's my hot take on Kumail Nanjiani. I was very upset. I think the biggest moment of the show is that caller insulting JTE on the phone. That was like the biggest what the hell moment, because not only did it come from out of nowhere, I also laughed thinking it was funny, and as I'm laughing, I'm like, oh shit, that was shitty. Like, that was a shitty thing to say. And Cobbster immediately came in and was like, oh, I'm sorry, JTE, because I know that he wasn't feeling good, that the caller just made fun of him. JTE, I thought, played it off brilliantly, but you could tell that the people there were like, what the hell is this guy? What, Ed, I think was the caller? Shame on you, Ed. You don't know these people.
Yeah, show your face on live YouTube.
Well, he might. I mean, for all we know, he's a successful YouTuber.
I guess
like
so.
us.
Those give him a hosting spot on the Schmoes Know Show.
Do you have anything to say on the matter?
I mean, it was, even when I, like, it's one of those awkward moments where you're just kind of like, okay. You know, like, it's one thing to leave like a comment like that can be buried, but to take up the airtime, especially that call. First of all, they don't even really take that many calls. I don't even know why they have that damn number up there anyways.
It's not like the olden days, is it?
No, it's not. And I mean, Ryan's tried to call every single week now.
Every week I try to call, and I have that number on speed dial, and the second I press it, it is automatically busy.
And to take it up with that doo-doo comment like that, like, you can make jokes all you want, but one that cuts that sharp like a Kumail Nanjiani joke is just not gonna work for me. We got your back, Josh Tapia.
Do you ever want to call into the show?
No, not really. I mean,
well, you wouldn't get in no matter what. But I'm just curious if you would like to call.
I would be frustrated because I'm a long form conversation type of guy.
They just ask you pick this for me, and then if you pick something correctly, then you get a movie.
I mean, I would refuse. Like, if I got through and they were like, okay, who do you think's going to, I'd be like, I don't want to talk about
that. My favorite thing is, because I work late a lot, I always have to, like, you'll text me or somebody will message me and be like, hey, call in. I love calling in, having zero context as to what's going on the show, because I know that if I make it through and I ask them what's going on, I know Cobbster will be furious. I might even get hung up on. So that is actually my goal, is for that to happen.
Back in the Toad Hop days, when people would call in, they'd have to always ask, so what are you guys talking about right now? or they'd talk about something that was like 10 minutes late. Yeah.
Like last night I tried to call in and I had no idea where we were in the summer movie preview, but I did it anyway, and I was praying to God I got on so I could ruin the show for everyone.
You've had a joke that you've been waiting to tell on if you call in. Is it still a thing, or has the fire died down?
Oh yeah, no, I'll still do it. I'll still do it because, like I said, my plan is to ruin everyone's night. And the fact that joke becomes less and less relevant as I am ignored with the phone calls, the more it's going to hurt. The more it's going to hurt. I cannot wait.
Let me ask you this. Would you ever try to traverse calling in on the same number, that everybody else has to call in? And would you try to schedule it with Cobbster? I'm going to call in. Can you make this work for me?
That was an idea. Actually, I think the first time. Don't do that. The first no, I don't want to.
I want the first time you get through to be like, holy shit.
No, I'm not doing that, because they made that kid look like an ass when he did that. Like, Ken immediately interjected, come on, keep it moving. And that kid was just like so excited to talk to him.
You're supposed to be a pro on shows like this.
No, I get it. I just kind of thought...
Would you let that happen?
Would I let it happen?
Yeah.
I mean, I might make a joke, but I mean, I'd still take a moment to have fun with him, I think. I don't know. I just kind of felt bad for that guy. Did you feel bad for him?
No, not really. I mean,
I know, I'm not saying that they aren't in the middle of a game, and of course they had a purpose, but they clearly don't screen the calls prior. So maybe that would help. I don't even know if they have the technology to do that, but if they screen the calls, there might be some more quality control instead of just getting people but at least take a moment to have a little fun with the guy.
Yeah, I mean, you know how hard it can be to have just a normal one-on-one phone conversation. Have you ever gotten in a rhythm with somebody on the phone where you're like, you find yourself constantly talking over like their last point, and then you get in that weird wait, what'd you say? No, you go sort of thing. Yeah. Imagine all those fucking people talking at the exact same time. Yeah. I mean, it's got to be a little tough, and yeah, I mean, look, not everybody has the direct line to the bat phone to Mark and Kristian like you do to bug them.
I just don't even know. Like,
you get a little excited.
I do. I would get so caught off guard if all of a sudden I was dialing in, they were like, "Schmoes Know Show, who do you got?" And it's like you stumble. I'm surprised so many people are able to just answer it right away, because I would kind of get excited and freaked out. And like you said, I can call them anytime I want. But I don't know. I just kind of felt bad for them.
Yeah. Well, and you also have to wait in a queue. So then by the if
you don't. There's no queue.
There's no queue?
Yeah, it's either you are the person that is calling or it's busy. There's no waiting period or like you're next up in the queue. It's just you are the one caller or you're not.
I'm gonna lay down a gauntlet right now. In the future, if anybody calls into a show where you think the show might need a little bit of a boost, I need you guys to just drop the hottest take. It doesn't matter if they're playing a game or whatever. I need you guys to drop the hottest take to force them to change what they're doing. Absolutely. As Daniel Faraday said in Lost, throw a boulder into that lake. And I don't remember the rest of it, but just
very good. Thank you.
Throw it in there and completely derail the show.
What is that, chaos theory?
Yeah, don't be ridiculous. Don't say racist shit or something like that, but like just say something of a movie topic so much that it will completely make them throw the rest of their script away.
See, I like this because I think if we incite this kind of behavior, it will give us more to talk about on After Schmoe. So for those of you who are listening, Jay's absolutely right. Please go on there. We're not asking you to be obnoxious, but maybe just don't do anything they want you to do. And it will only work though if everyone participates. Because then, if the first person comes in, let's call him Joe Schmoe. If Joe Schmoe comes in and acts a fool, and then the next caller comes in and just does exactly what they want to do, then Joe Schmoe ends up looking like an ass, and then the entire plan didn't work. So,
ask a question like, does Kristian really hate TV or something like that? And be like, explain it now. Mark, explain it now.
Well, that's a little obnoxious.
Okay, that's true.
Find a happy medium. But it's only going to work if everyone does it. Because I would like to see them try to course correct that show. And then, then finally we might have something to talk about.
Yeah, I'm protesting. Don't put up with this, you called in for the first time ever, which is nearly impossible to do. Who do you have in this game? Okay, now get the hell out of here. No more of that. No more. All right? I'm running the show now. Don't do this anymore. Get on there and throw something out there like, Cobbster top 5 metal bands, go right now, and then just hang up. Like, don't even play their game.
Oh my God, this is amazing! I am loving this. I cannot wait to get the hated messages this week when all this is revealed.
If we can get enough people doing this,
oh my God,
to where they're like, all right, no more phone calls.
Yeah, I was gonna say what they'll do is they'll just quit making phone calls, which is cowardice.
That's right, and then that's when we invest in a phone line, and they do it to us, and then we have to cancel it as well.
Exactly. We steal their phone lines just to end up doing the exact same thing as they have. I'm out of notes.
You're out of notes completely? You don't want to talk about the burger wars?
Oh, the burger wars. Yeah. Wow, I suck.
All right, let me ask you this question via burger wars.
Let's talk about the burger wars.
Going into this competition, I personally felt, first of all, how do we feel about them picking these semi-random local chains. Like, that's not fun for everybody else. Like, I get In and Out, that's fine, but there was one called like Little Tommy's Burger Stand or something like that.
Yeah, what the hell is
No,
that?
don't do that.
What do you think about the rule where they had 7 choices but 5?
I like
can't
that.
decide if I like it or if I don't like it.
I like it to throw you off the scent.
So
Going into this, I don't think I would ever do good in a Schmoedown. Even like the game, I think I could do okay on. I was so confident that I could do good in this Burger Wars game.
and you know how much fast food I eat.
Absolutely.
I think I could dominate.
Can we put up
3
like a
days in
tag
a
team
row,
right here?
3 days in a row, I got a number 1 from Wendy's.
I got a number 1 from Burger King today, and number 1 from Wendy's is my go-to. No tomato, no mayo.
Well, hey, you and Roca, that no mayonnaise.
That's just me. I just don't like tomatoes and mayonnaise.
For 10 years, all I got from Wendy's was spicy chicken sandwich. I ordered a spicy chicken sandwich last week and accidentally got that burger. It might be the best fast food burger. And I went back 2 more times.
Oh, God. Okay.
I'm not kidding. 3 days in a row, I got that number 1. Because I hadn't had the Wendy's burger before.
I'm going to preview
Anyway.
I'm going to preview it right here. Last week on Sight and Sound, we did our Mount Rushmore of cereal. On the next episode, I want to do Mount Rushmore of fast food burgers. Because we could talk about it on here, but it's not really a spot for it, and Kristian's going to get mad at us.
It's just like the 5 burger. It's the same 5 burgers.
No, it's not. I have a dark horse. My old roommate once went around our town and ranked all of them.
Let's get him on the show.
No, I don't think it would be necessary.
Oh, okay. So your issue isn't with the fact that they had 7 choices, but it was the fact that they were obscure.
Some of them, yeah.
And that's a good point, only because Eric, excuse me, yeah, I'm gonna die here. No, Eric had no idea what those were.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, the In and Out, I'm down with. In and Out, everybody knows, even if you've never had it before, everybody knows that In and Out's a pretty staple burger. I've had it In and Out, and it's a distinguishable burger for sure. So
I can't imagine what else you can do with a burger. I've never had In and Out. I've had pretty much every fast food burger. I mean, what else can you do?
Where was White Castle on there? I mean, I guess you know that right away just from how small it is, but
also that'd be a horrible choice.
Why?
Because it's a slider. It's different. I mean,
that's what I just said.
Yeah, but I mean, it's just no. That's not what I'm not talking about the size. Well, maybe I am. I don't think of it. When you think of burgers, you're never thinking about White Castle ever.
Yeah, sometimes.
I don't think so.
We're gonna get comments on this.
I hope not. So, anyway, you were confident that you could do okay. I mean, were you confident in any particular person? Because I mean, how the hell are you supposed to know? And I'm not going to take a cheap shot of JTE here, but how the hell are you supposed to know who's the best at knowing fast food? It could have been anyone's game.
I mean,
that might have been the most intriguing part of it.
Let me ask you this question. Of all the people there, not even the people that were competing, or just in general, in Collider Schmoes group, who's the foodie?
Who's the foodie?
Yeah, because I'll tell you who's not is Cobbster. He doesn't even understand pineapple on pizza. He doesn't understand sweet and savory foods mixed together.
Cobbster is a man who doesn't know shit about pizza. That's been made very clear.
Who's the foodie?
I think Ellis seems to be like a picky eater. I was surprised that those 4 gentlemen were eating those burgers with all the toppings on it. Because here in Kentucky, I know so many picky eaters, and I can't stand picky eaters.
I'm not a picky eater, but I don't eat tomatoes or mayonnaise.
I can't stand picky eaters. It's actually a huge pet peeve of mine for people to just be like, no, I don't like that. I'm only going to eat chicken tenders for the rest of my life.
I
hate people like that.
I think Emma Fife would be a pick for a good foodie just because of her love of Japanese culture, Korean culture, stuff like that. I'm going to
go Perry. Because isn't food a big thing in New York? And that's where she's from.
Food's a big thing everywhere, Ryan.
It's not a big thing here.
That's not true. You've never left
We got a Chili's.
this town.
We got a Chili's. So, I don't know. My guess is Perry, because she's from New York. Well, I guess you could say the same thing about Kristian. Yeah, I forgot you're from New York.
Ace. I bet Ace is a
Think so?
Yeah, he has a very eclectic taste in things.
Yeah,
mainly movies.
He's Latino, but he likes mostly things that are Japanese. I mean, he's all over the place. I could see that. Yeah, I like that choice. Good call.
Has anybody in the Collider and Schmoes studios, has anyone ever had a LaCroix or a La Croix?
I don't know. Probably not.
I bet Makuga is a little bit of a foodie.
Yeah, okay. I could see that. Because the cheesesteak, right? Or is that Philly? Yeah, that's Philadelphia. You can still have cheesesteak.
Just because of he likes craft beers. He likes all that scotch you talked about that one time.
Oh, yeah. Okay, where's this conversation going?
I don't know. Let's move on. Were you surprised by how?
The show.
Were you surprised by how low they scored in the Burger Wars, or do you think that was purely down to the obscurity of some of the burgers?
Going into
they never told us which burger was which. They never told us which one was which one.
Yeah, they did.
No, they didn't. They never said the first one that you have is this, the second one that you like. Unless you got one right, they told you that you got it right, but they never.
Is that really right?
I looked for it because I was super interested. Because the only thing I could judge off of was how things looked, and I was like, "What the hell?"
Well, you can mostly see buns, so it was really hard to tell what they were.
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't realize that. Good call.
Unless I'm wrong, and somebody will let me know. But I looked really hard for it.
What else are we gonna say about this Burger Wars? I've pretty much expired.
I mean, could you see them doing something like this on a future episode?
What I will say is that it was a very fun segment, and I thought it was a creative way to implement the movie.
It was probably my favorite segment of the whole episode.
And usually that's the portion of the show where they do some type of game revolved around a movie. If Makuga was there, Makuga might have come up with some kind of trivia game. They haven't really done that in a while. But usually that last 30 minutes is dedicated to a fun game revolved around movies, whether it be Schmoes Choice or whatever. I liked that they changed it up a little bit, and those were actually the parts of the show that make it the Schmoes Know Show and not the Schmoes Know Movie Show. So I did enjoy the segment. Absolutely. I enjoyed the episode just fine. It's just I'm passively aggressively expressing that there's not much to say.
Would you have liked to have seen anybody else partake in the eating of those burgers? I would have liked to have seen. Is this
where we're at now? Did you really just ask that question?
I would have liked to have seen Riley get up on that table.
I feel like you're just keeping this going for the sake of keeping it going.
I'm curious. Is there anybody else in the studio you would have liked, to have seen partake in the burgers?
No. I did feel bad for the people sitting on the couch, though, that couldn't participate.
Yeah. Where was Brett?
I don't know. Well, we'll get to the bottom of it when he comes on the show in the next couple weeks. I need to ask him about that. But it's coming up on that time.
Alrighty. That's pretty much all I got then.
I want to talk about your experience with the debut of Finstock, though.
Absolutely. Well, this week there actually is no legitimate clip. It was, first of all, I tried to do this. I even tried to do the whole thing where I prep one and edit it together. It was all over the place. I mean, this thing was everywhere.
Sure.
I mean, if you go back and listen to the recently re-uploaded Harloff podcast where Kristian had Tom Dagnino, as I like to call him. That's the only thing I've ever known him as. When he did that interview, he talked about this episode the first time he ever came on, and talked about how mad everybody was at Kristian because Kristian didn't inform them of this character. He just came on to do his thing, and he was.
And you've heard me talk about it too.
He was spewing just like fake facts left and right. He was saying just outlandish things, but even knowing what I was getting myself into, I actually found myself getting upset by it. They went through an entire segment about how he was saying that The Departed was one of the worst films he's ever seen in his entire life. And then all of a sudden, people like kind of started to agree with him. And I was like, what? excuse me?
Power of Finstock.
Not only is this my favorite movie of all time, like I'm fine if people just don't like it because they personally didn't enjoy it. Like one guy called in and said he thought it was a little boring. Okay,
Some people hate the ending.
Okay, I can't help you there, but like all of a sudden they started nitpicking it, and they were putting on their Wawa hats, which is this new thing I've come up with. When people like,
what is the word?
It's called a Wawa hat. They're
Wawa.
Their Wawa hat. It's pretty much when people all of a sudden out of nowhere have all these issues with a movie that is fine, that is great, and all of a sudden it becomes a not good movie. Like when people like I did it for Civil War. I'm sorry, not Civil War. I did it for Winter Soldier. I completely will own up to it. The movie, it's fun. It's a good movie, but I was coming up with some straight up bullshit reasons why I didn't like the movie.
Change the MCU forever.
I had my Wawa hat on. But anyways,
the whole Hydra twist.
I mean, he was just going nuts in this episode, and it's hilarious to listen to. Mark was pissed in this episode. I mean, very blatantly so. Like he had enough. He'd had enough with Mark. He'd had enough. I'm sorry.
Have you heard did Finstock talk about it on his episode of Harloff? I forgot. Did he talk about the fact that they had a meeting post-show?
Yes.
Did Kristian talk about that?
Yes.
Yeah, I always thought that was interesting.
That Ken pulled him outside.
Yeah, asked him never to do that again.
Yeah, it was a special episode. Here, I have it pulled up. I think it was November 26, 2012. Let me see.
Would have been a good birthday present for me that year.
Finstock would have been a good birthday present for you?
Yeah.
How would you feel if Finstock showed up on your birthday one year?
Be amazing. I would never forget it.
11/29/2012 on the
that's the day after my birthday. Still would have been great.
On the old Schmoes Know iTunes feed.
I couldn't imagine a better birthday. I remember one of the very first episodes of Schmoeville. The first person that I got word of in the studio that had been listening to the show was Finstock.
Amazing.
Finstock listened to Schmoeville podcasts back in the day.
I'm
sure he's never heard it again, but
why is that? Why do you think he listened?
Because him and Kristian went on some trip, and that's what Kristian played in the car.
Yeah, that's weird.
Why is that weird?
I don't know.
And Finstock liked it. He enjoyed what I was doing, even though I think that was the worst the show has ever been. But
he'd like it better now that we can connect on
maybe not this episode. I don't know if anybody else is still left listening here to this. They could have moved on by now. But we did get some great insight from you on the Finstock episode. I love that. I love everything that moment stands for. And Finstock is amazing.
Well, I apologize. I didn't have an actual audio clip
it's
prepared.
Fine, Jay. You did a fine job.
I was searching for something, some marks to hit. And there's a lot of gems in there. But to put them all together, to have them make
I think people...
You can't make context of Finstock. There is no context. Sure. He transcends context.
I think what you're doing here is great because now people are either going to go back and enjoy the entire episode or... what was I saying? For the first time, or they're going to revisit it. And either way, it's going to be a hell of an experience for everybody. I definitely want to. So... with that being said, I think that's about all we got. I thank you. If you're still listening to this, my God, you are a trooper. Thank you so much. I want to talk directly to you now because for whatever reason, and I'm a little baffled by this, or more so me than you, I like to complain about how hard it is to promote your brand, your content. I get down on myself a little bit because it's hard to grow what we are working towards here. I cannot believe I'm saying this, but why is a giveaway hard to promote?
Oh, I know the number one answer to this. I meant to mention it to you off air. You don't wait until the end of podcasts to promote things like this because that's...
So yet again, you didn't stop me. We should have done this at the top of the show.
We should have, 100%. And you did this on our leftovers thing, I think, and I think you did this on Sight and Sound Weekly.
Well, if you're still listening to this, you're the diehard fan, and so you deserve to hear this at this point. We're doing a giveaway. All you have to do is subscribe to Jay and Mize. All you have to do is subscribe to our YouTube channel, Sight and Sound. The link is in the description, or if you follow either one of us on Twitter, we tweet that stuff out all the time. If you subscribe to the Sight and Sound YouTube channel, that automatically enters your chance to win a Schmoes Know t-shirt of your choice. I know we've got a couple of new subscribers since starting that, and the person that's in the lead right now, let me pull up his name, Greg Schwartz. Greg Schwartz is right now your biggest competition because he screenshotted him subscribing to our show and tweeted it at us. So right now, Greg Schwartz is the man, but you still have time to enter this contest. Just subscribe to the Sight and Sound YouTube channel. Jaye Williams. Aside from that, where can they find you?
You can find me at Jaye Williams, J to the A to the Y to the E. It's on Twitter and Instagram. It's the same for both. You can also find us on Sight and Sound on our podcast. There's still some people that I think are a little confused by all the stuff that we do. Somebody asked us if we could put the Sight and Sound Weekly on the podcast feed. That's not how it works. We have our own podcast feed where we do a bunch of stuff besides talking about all the stuff we talk about on Weekly. I have a music show that I drop every single Friday. If you just want to hear me rambling about music, maybe music's not your thing. Maybe music, you think music's your thing, but trust me, it's not, because you're not listening to my show. If you listen to my show, it's your thing. Every single Friday I drop that. I let you know what's coming out, what came out, and what's gonna come out in the coming weeks. And it's about to be summertime, which is a huge time for all things pop culture, music, movies, and television. We're gonna be doing a preview soon on Sight and Sound Weekly. Follow us wherever podcasts are found.
Thank you to those of you who have embraced Sight and Sound Weekly on the Schmoe Plus YouTube channel. You guys are the best, and thank you for all the carryover that we've gotten. We're also recapping the leftovers on that Sight and Sound feed, so if you're watching that show, please watch with us. We're having a ton of fun. It's only been one episode, but all I do is think about that show. So come hang out with us there. Did I say my Twitter? You can follow me on Twitter at WhatUpSnell, and we can talk about whatever you want to talk about. Thank you so much, and we will see you next week on After Schmoe.